welcome to Witchy and Well's Soul Medicine. I'm your host, Emily Valario, pharmacist, witch, and holistic health coach. And we are so grateful to be joined today by Temple Mountain, singer, songwriter, and wearer of other hats as well that we will talk about throughout the course of our episode.
Hello.
Hello, welcome Temple. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Awesome.
This is cool.
This is cool.
Yeah.
So I'll share with our viewers how we met. The Sunapee Craft Fair is an annual event in Sunapee, New Hampshire, and it's a gathering of some of the most talented artists and creators and makers in the New Hampshire area. And there was this lovely green lawn set up with tents and food, and Temple was there singing for us as we enjoyed some food, a little break from scoping out the amazing art happening. And it was, I was just sort of nudged to throw my card in your case.
Yeah. And well, yeah. And, when anyone, but particularly, if a woman drops a card in your case, you're not going to just be like, oh, well, I'm going to throw that away. Thanks for not giving me money. So no, I was very grateful.
I did give you money too,
I promise.
I
know you did. I know you did. I was very grateful. I was very, very grateful.
I promise I wasn't that witch.
No. Actually, that day was really such a support. It was one of my best days. Not that anyone needs to know that, but it was one of my best days making money. It was really a great place. And shout out to John MacArthur, who runs NH Music Collective. It's a kind of a booking agency in New Hampshire, and I try to do most of my own bookings, but he gets opportunities sometimes like that, and it's like, how could I say no to it's not every day you get to play a craft fair that I'm going to be able to be there. Were you there just to view, or were you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love going, and I've made a little bit of a tradition of getting myself a mug each year. So this, I wish I had the artist name. I'll link it in the description, but it's this beautiful mug that has mushrooms all over it.
Cool.
Like literally mushrooms coming out of what looks like a log mug.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty great.
I just got something very similar.
Did you?
Yeah. It's a teacup that's looks like a mushroom. It's very cute.
Right on. Yeah. I love it. Well, so, music seems to be a pretty important part of your life. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like it was in 5th grade that you picked up your guitar.
Yeah.
What was that like? How did that happen? How did that come to be?
There's either two things, because I remember in 4th grade, I saw the movie I think most of my career destinations involve film, watching someone do something and go, I want that. So for example, seeing School of Rock in 4th grade, I was like, I want to play guitar. And then watching Marty McFly in Back to the Future do, Johnny Be Good, that was I was it. It was just the coolest thing. And then, I don't know, my 5th grade teacher also played the guitar. And I remember seeing, he had a Stratocaster. I don't know if you know what a Strat is. It's it's the classic shape of an electric guitar. Okay. So when you think of an electric guitar, you probably think of a Strat. And it was black and white color scheme wise. And I always liked that. I was like, this looks like a cow to me. And then he would play and I was just like, he's not a cool looking dude, but he sounded so cool.
I love that.
Yeah. So I just was like, it just made sense. And I'm a very neurodivergent individual. I dealt with things like ADHD. So to be in this to have this tool where I could isolate myself and work on a craft and no one else has to be a part of it, it was very cathartic for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And when you play, it very much sounds like it's an extension of you, right? It's a collaboration that you have with the instrument.
Oh, thank you for that. That's a really interesting way to phrase it. I always liked how Elliott Smith said, huge Elliott Smith fan, so
me too.
That's awesome. We're friends.
Yeah.
Someone asked him what's the difference between him and Modest Mouse. He's like, well, I'm more embedded in tradition. Mm-hmm. And I almost take that phrase and that is how I live my life. So for me to learn the guitar, it's you can learn scales, of course. You can learn chords, of course. But can you learn the Beatles catalog? Can you learn John Mayer? Can you learn Dave Matthews, who are those are my big influences. Mm-hmm. And doing that taught me way more than, learning, or I should say this, reading 1984 was a lot more helpful for me than understanding verbs, adjectives, adverbs, understanding how the human language works. So I always like to learn from other people because they're a lot smarter than me.
And would you say that the learning for you happens best when you are recreating it, playing the music
replicating, learning. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my songs, like you said, you mentioned when you messaged me about Prozac. I would argue that is a very heavy John Mayer ripoff song. It reminds me a lot of a song of his called Neon, and it's using a very similar technique. So I was just like, how can I take that technique and make it my own?
Yeah.
So you learn from the others, and then every once in a while you get lucky and you come up with an original idea. I'm still searching for that, but
I was going to ask you about that. So for how long was your relationship with guitar and with music kind of, playing things that you enjoyed, that you liked, that you felt would help you grow your technique? How long until you started playing your own things?
Right, 19.
19.
Yeah, and actually it involves Elliott Smith and a movie. So when I was 18, I saw Good Will Hunting, which is my favorite movie of all time.
That's why you're up in New England.
And I'm going to break the fourth wall, watch that movie. But it's a really incredible movie, and the music by Elliott Smith blew my mind. And when I saw that movie, I was like, I came out of that movie going like, there's a lot wrong with me. So I remember I started seeing a therapist, and I told him what I wanted to do, and I was living in Long Island, New York at the time. And he was like, all right, why don't you just move out to New York and pursue music? And I didn't necessarily come from a family. I came from a family that was very encouraging of the music, but they didn't know how to pursue that career. My dad was a plumber. My mom was a special ed teacher. They were both masters of their crafts, but when it came to music, they didn't know what they don't know what to do. So when hearing that, it was like, oh, I can be a listenable individual and write my own stuff. And that's when it started. And I went through a few changes. Like my songs when I was 19 was in a certain style. Then I got into like a kind of not depressing lyrically, but kind of inspired by depressing artists kind of period, like Nick Drake, Elliott Smith. I love this guy named Burt Yanks.
Oh, I haven't heard of Burt Yanks.
Yeah, he's like an English folk singer. And then I got into more of a pop realm, and now I'm in a very creative writer's block actually at the moment. I'm finding I don't know what I want to do musically, and I don't really have an inspiration to say anything at the moment. So it's very fascinating. Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's all part of it, right?
Right.
Those peaks and valleys, those ebbs and flows, right? We have these moments sometimes of internal.
Yeah, and you could either get stressed out by it, which it totally makes sense too, or you can just recognize it and live.
Yeah.
And I know it will come back, and I know when it will come back, I know I will obsess over it. But right now I'm in this period where I'm about to start, as we talked, I was about to start a clinical internship for, counseling, and that's leading my passions a certain direction.
Yeah. When was it that became an area of interest for you?
Since probably 17, 18.
Yeah.
But I didn't think I could do it, which according to cognitive behavioral therapy would say that's an automatic thought, right? So I had this negative kind of perception of myself. And I'm just testing myself right now because I'm about to start an internship. Yeah. But and then when I went to get my associates when I was 25, I got a culinary degree.
Yeah.
So I was cooking for a while and I hated it.
Really?
Yeah,
what did you hate about it? I'm curious.
Stressful and it's very competitive, which is actually my thing I don't like about music. It's just so competitive, and I get why competition exists, but I'd rather just be competitive towards myself and work on myself. Yeah. But I couldn't move past a place because there was someone who was better than me, and I was like, okay, well, how do I get better? So it was very frustrating. So then my wonderful wife and her mom talked about it, and they were like, why don't you just study what you want? And then my sister suggested psychology. She's like, you've been wanting to do this your whole life. What is stopping you? And it was the best move I ever made. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's so interesting how these different parts of your life. I mean, it sounds like 18, 19 was a really kind of fruitful period of self-discovery and self-reflection.
I guess so. It didn't feel that way, because self-discovery and self-reflection can feel quite sad sometimes. So upon this conversation I get to have, maybe, but I never thought of it that way, so that's really fascinating. Yeah, I'm going to process that on my own time.
Yeah. I was looking, and you can find Tumble Mountain on Spotify too. I was just, taking a look at some of your music, and I was fascinated by so many of the songs have to do with
the first album.
navigating what's happening in the mind, what's happening in our relationships, right? Countertransference and Prozac, right?
Yeah.
I love this intersection of your art, of your creativity, and also of this like exploration of the mind. I think not just for you, but
no, I really
experience.
Appreciate you saying that. Notice it. I become very obsessive. So like even a lot of the songs you mentioned were on my first album, Schema, and like that whole album, it's like this is my opportunity to put art into the world. So I'm gonna do it like art. So even like those songs, like, for example, countertransference, the word countertransference isn't in the song. And that'd be a very difficult song to both write about and rhyme with.
Yeah.
But the song is about, an intimate kind of relationship with my wife. So not exactly what the definition, according to Freud at least, of what countertransference would be. However, it just felt right. Yeah. And I wanted to show like that the debt that I'm going to get into from a bachelor's degree kind of paid off slightly. But my next album, the songs that I'm releasing besides Prozac, actually don't have any psychology terms.
Yeah. That's cool too, right? Exploring another area of your passion, which is so fun. Do you think, like, as a child, were there any signs that you would become a psychology-focused musician? Were there moments that you can look back on?
That's an interesting question. I don't think so.
Yeah,
but it's hard to say. I think it would be easier to answer. What would be actually like? Let's say you watched me grow up my whole life, which would be very creepy, by the way. But if you watched me grow up my whole life, that would be you would have an easier way answering that, because I think. We're sometimes, some people, not everyone, but some people, like myself, we could be so busy doing introspective thinking that we miss out on the opportunity to see growth from the physical realm. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you find it, in your kind of growing up and figuring out who you are and what you want, have you found there have been things that have helped you take that outside approach? Like, I think, just speaking personally, I find I'm better able to do that now than I ever was as a child, to take a little bit of distance from my life and examine it.
It's always been something I do. Yeah. And I've had periods where it maybe is too much, but I tend to use my own perspective to understand the world. And now I'm learning that you have to have balance, right? You have to have a societal perspective as well. But I do a lot of deep thinking and exploration.
What helps you ground?
Could you elaborate?
Yeah, absolutely. So right, we have these moments of introspection, and then we have moments where we're just not doing that, right? We are very intentionally present in the moment, engaging our senses.
Sure. Well, I think being with my wife helps. Like, I think love.
Love. Oh, gosh,
love
yes.
is really big.
Yeah.
But there's more to it, isn't there? Like, what really keeps you grounded? I just think human interaction and passion, and that you use the word passion, I would say the word meaning is really important. Understanding the search for meaning. And you can find meaning, Viktor Frankl would say you could find meaning in, unfortunately, suffering. And you could find it in work, you could find it in love or accomplishments, but you could also find it in suffering. So understanding that your meaning within your life can come in any way, and you just have to be able to process it is really crucial.
Yeah. What would you recommend to folks to help them process?
I would say don't listen to me, but if I was to answer that question, process like life. Just know that you can only define you, right? So if my advice, if I was to give someone any direction on how to go and it was to work for them, I would say that's really lucky. And what will be more incredible is they can figure out their own way through life. So the only thing I could really do to help someone is I could be there and give them unconditional positive regard to allow them to really process their own thoughts so that they can become their own person. Because if I had all the answers, I'd have a lot more money, I'd have a lot more success, and that's fine. I don't want that.
You'd be crazy burnt out.
I would be and I am crazy burnt out. So maybe I have the answers. But no, I just think, I don't know if there is an answer, but to process, I think just know that as a person, as long as you're doing ethically okay things, that your soul deserves to understand why it's beautiful.
I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think you're sort of getting at this too. I like the idea that we at any moment can be a mirror for someone else, right? We are. Inevitably, we are a mirror for someone else. And we get to choose what we reflect back.
Yeah. And we also get to choose how we take in other people's thoughts, right? So even stuff that could be quite maybe bigotry or we choose how we process it and how we relay back our thoughts of disagreement or agreement towards it. And that's really important because there's a lot of people saying really awful things about other people in this world, and there's a lot of hatred in this world. And I have a choice I can only speak for myself, but it's either I'm going to get angry by them and want to yell back, or I'm going to figure out a way to process it and share how I feel. Maybe there's a different view or perspective that you could have of it so that, they couldn't understand. And they probably won't understand. And that's okay too.
And that's okay too.
Yeah, that's okay too.
Yeah, I find sometimes just kind of seeing the wound rather than the...
Oh, that's
right?
I like that.
Yeah. Because we all have them.
I have many.
So many. Yeah. Being a witch, yep.
That's dope. Yeah, I love that. It's cool that the label is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as we learn to lean into our weird, as we learn to accept the things that have alienated us, have made us feel unworthy, right? As we claim those things.
Now you seem to be a very positive individual, so I get the you have a very infectious smile, and I don't mean that in any.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I was curious, what about the cliches of witch stuff in society? Do those things upset you? So even to the point the broom, right?
Yeah. What's really funny? I love that you brought that up because at the Sunapee Craft Fair, the day that I met you, I bought a broom.
Oh, I'm proud of you.
I bought my first broom. So in the practice of witchcraft, the broom is... So the world of the witch is laden with symbolism,
yeah, of
right?
Course.
And so the broom, it's just it's a way to sweep out, to clear out what isn't serving, whether that's whether you're talking about on the level of spirit or energetics or actual debris. No matter how you choose to conceptualize it, it's that act or symbolic gesture of sweeping, of using a broom is just to make room.
Good answer. Yeah.
And it's true for so many of the things in the world of the witch. I like to think about I could talk about witches all day, and that's not what we're here to do.
I would hope that you could talk about witches all day, to be honest.
Yeah. But it's I definitely try to live in a world of positivity, but we know that that's just half of, right? Yeah, it's just half of life. So
and difficult.
We can hold, we can hold space for it all.
Oh yeah, I think if if you felt or I can't, not just you, but if we can be if we go to bed tonight and we're oh, today was a positive day, what an achievement.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. And if it wasn't a positive day, well, we learned something.
Yeah. Or how can we look at it in a well, it depends, obviously.
Right.
Like I said, I guess in the process of this conversation, I'm realizing there is also a privilege to being positive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
we are in a privileged state to be positive, and
we have
very
our basic
grateful for
needs
that.
Met.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. We have the cars that let us drive through the snow now,
Yeah, right.
It makes a big difference.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So in our remaining few minutes, I would be so grateful if you'd be open to sharing a song with us. Any song that you'd like.
Yeah. I'll play something off my first album. I kind of just write in the song. Ideas come later, but I don't know if it's necessarily what the song's about.
Yeah.
But this one actually had more of a specific kind of narrative, and it's called Interpersonal Relationships. And it's about my friends that I met in my journey through counseling. I met a couple of therapists who became mentors, who one of them was the best ma'am of my wedding. So yeah.
Amazing.
So thanks. Thank you for this opportunity, by the way.
Thanks for coming, taking a risk on a witch.
Yeah. Seems I've only met you, it's falling down like rain. It's all the ways you make me feel and cry. So won't you take my hands and help me understand? As we sit still, the world is passing by. I recognize the mistrust, I experience the pain. I see the way that men can tend to lie. So I work hard each day and think of how to say, I'm here to love, not here to change your minds. For you know an hour or so, focused on the way you're making sounds. For you know it's time for you to go, but I'll think about the next time you're around. 'Cause I made you a promise I can't break, but I think I found a way to compromise. For history will show the way you helped me grow. Make a pretty friendship, you and I. For you know an hour or so, focused on the way you're making sounds. For you know it's time for you to go, but I'll think about the next time you're around. 'Cause I made you a promise I can't break, but I think I found a way to compromise. For history will show the way you helped me grow. Make a pretty friendship, you and I. Make a pretty friendship, you and I.
Amazing. Oh, I love that.
These are new strings, by the way, just for you.
Amazing.
And it's been like months.
Wow, that was so beautiful. I have to ask, so, okay, you started talking a little bit about your writing process. What's it like when do you have like a concept for a song? Do you have like, how does it happen
It's
for you?
bad. I'll be like watching Ted Lasso or like YouTube videos, and I'm just like, and then my ear picks up on something, and before you know it, I'm kind of finding this pattern, and I'm finding like a way that this pattern can be created into a theme, and then I'm turning that theme into like some implied melody, and before you know it, it's there. Yeah.
That's
and
incredible.
I know people who really put a lot of thought on lyrics, and it shows. And I don't put a lot on lyrics, and I feel like it shows, and that's okay. But you know.
I mean, I think there's a lot in it all.
Yeah.
And just because it's not like agonizing, writing the words doesn't mean
I wouldn't enjoy that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so much that happens, before it even reaches your conscious awareness, right? There's work happening.
Oh yeah. And it's just like if it sounds good, it's good. You
Exactly.
know? I mean, to me, if it sounds good, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you find you learn more about yourself as the lyrics come out, as the music comes out? Can you kind of like take in one of your songs and be like, oh, I didn't know that about myself?
Yeah.
Or
We're just going to ignore that.
What was that?
I don't know.
Something just fell out of the sky.
I won't lie, like that really triggered my ADHD, so you might have to repeat your question.
That's totally fine. I love it. No, so the question was, do you find that you learn something? So when a song is like fully baked and it's done, can you sometimes, or do you sometimes find, oh, I didn't know that about myself, but in listening to the lyrics and like I'm learning more about me through what I've written from what's come out of my.
It's a really great question, and I feel like the right thing to do right now is to be like, yes, but truth is,
true, yeah. I
don't know if music's ever been a self-exploration. Like that's not why I do music. I do almost music because it just felt very natural.
Yeah.
Like it's a kind. I don't want to use the word easy because that's not the case. But like, I could always just play, and I could always grow from it, and I could always just write the next song. I don't know if I ever used it as a way of like self-medicating in a sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I have other things for that, you know, one being Prozac. Like,
yeah. It's
But,
interesting that you wrote a song called Prozac.
I would say my greatest form of like self-discovery is human interaction with people I care about and love and are willing to listen to and want to be, and people who want to listen to me. So that if I can find those credentials, I tend to grow as a person.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm sure there has been songs where I'm like, oh, but that's also like, you gotta be careful with that. That's a slippery slope because if you write a song, you're like, oh my God, do you hear that lyric? And then you Kanye Westing or like, I'm a genius. That can be, that pretentiousness, while important at times, if overloaded, I think history has shown it can actually have more diminishing effects than positive effects. So it's just it's just a slippery slope. You just gotta be careful, or maybe I'm overanalyzing it.
And it might be different from person to person.
Yeah.
I ask, it's been a top of mind for me. So I've started my hand at writing, not music, but erotica. And I find that as I'm like writing this niche fictional genre, I'm learning a lot about my patterns, the way that things that I wasn't aware of in my subconscious are coming out in my writing.
You're writing like erotic novels? This is the coolest interview I've ever been on in my life.
Passion comes in all forms, doesn't it?
You know, it's funny actually. I live in Peterborough. I don't know if this person would want me to say this, but I will say this. So we have, the town over is a town called Dublin. And I know for a fact that New York Times erotic novelist or romance novelist, whatever you want to call it, bestseller lives right there. Her name's Penelope Douglas.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I read one of her books once and it was like, I'm glad I did this so I have a better perspective of why people read this stuff, but I can't do it again.
It's not for everyone.
But then again, just, and this is silly, but like, if people knew what men watch, so,
right.
You can't judge. Yeah, you can't judge.
We all have our things, and thank goodness for that. But yes, before we say goodbye, how can people find you who want to listen to your music, who want to support you? And,
TempleMountainMusic.com. I have shows all throughout until the end of December. I haven't booked past December yet, and I don't know whether or not I'm going to or not. I'm still doing a lot of searching if that's what I want in my life. But if you can't find me, just know that there's so many incredible talents in New Hampshire, music, art, TV, community TV, that you'll never get bored finding people.
Such good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you again for being here, Temple
Mountain. Thank you for having me.
So appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it.
And thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.